Intro, when rock and roll crossed the line. The 70s picked up where the 60s left off. Protests in the streets, second-wave feminism, queer liberation, Vietnam on TV every night. Music wasn't background noise. It was a weapon. And every time a song went too far, the censors moved in. The BBC banned tracks outright. US radio programmers quietly blacklisted others. Apartheid South Africa built entire no-play lists for subversive music. Core. So let's hit play on the 15 tracks that made the 70s shake.
Listen to me. It ain't nothing but a heartbreak.
15. War. Edwin Starr, 1970.
What is it good for? Absolutely.
Controversy. Vietnam in 3 words. We close with one of the most direct protest songs ever recorded.
What is it good for? Absolutely. Say it again, y'all.
Originally cut by The Temptations, Motown worried about hurting their crossover appeal, so they let Edwin Starr re-record War as a single. It went straight to number 1 in 1970. The chorus is brutally simple.
Good God, y'all.
War? Huh? Yeah? What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
It ain't nothing but a heartbreaker.
During the Vietnam era, that was a bold, confrontational stance. Pro-war groups and conservative broadcasters hated it. Some U.S. stations refused to play it, arguing that it undermined American troops and foreign policy. History today. But the song's power won out. It became a staple of anti-war rallies, a long-term protest anthem that resurfaces whenever new conflicts erupt. History today, decades later.
You must be playing with your own Ding-a-Ling.
It was still controversial enough to land on Clear Channel's informal Do Not Play list after 9/11 Final Thoughts Plus. Viewer question. So that's 15 songs the 70s tried to shut up. Some just because they made the wrong people uncomfortable, but they all show the same truth. Whenever music gets too real, somebody reaches for the off switch. 14. Jailhouse Rock, Elvis Presley, 1957, 70s reissue. Controversy. Too rebellious for apartheid South Africa. By the 70s, Jailhouse Rock was already an oldie. But in apartheid South Africa, even an old Elvis track could be considered dangerous.
Swing, you should have heard the lockdown jailbird sing that rock.
When the song was reissued there in the 1970s, authorities banned it, claiming it glorified criminality.
3, you the cutest jailbird I ever did see. I sure would be delighted.
In reality, rock and roll itself was seen as a threat.
Everybody knows everybody.
Music that encouraged dancing, rebellion, and cultural mixing was bad news for an authoritarian regime. Music minds. Despite the ban, Jailhouse Rock still circulated through informal channels and record libraries, becoming part of the underground soundtrack of youth culture.
Number 47 said to number 3.
Jace tore a 1957 song banned 20 years later. Proof that censorship often says more about the censor than the music.
The flies are buzzing, the dog is barking, and the floor is scrubbing.
13. The Pill. Loretta Lynn, 1975. Controversy. Birth control in the heart of country music.
The rain is a falling, Boston is a dripping, and the kids are balling.
Loretta Lynn was already a star when she dropped The Pill, a witty, blunt song about a woman finally getting on birth control after her husband keeps her barefoot and pregnant.
Won't take up so much yard.
Country radio freaked out.
All I've seen of this old world is the
Around 60 stations reportedly banned it outright. The boot preachers denounced Lynn from the pulpit for promoting immorality.
slim. Better homes and garden shows.
The boot. The irony? Male country singers had been bragging about affairs and one-night stands for years with far less pushback. Even with limited airplay, The Pill became one of Lynn's biggest crossover hits and a feminist landmark in country music. A rare, honest look at reproductive freedom from inside a very conservative genre. Business Insider. 12. My Ding-a-Ling, Chuck Berry, 1972. Controversy. Double entendres and angry moral crusaders.
Mine too. That's all right, brother. Yes, sir. You got it right, baby. Ain't no.
Rock and roll pioneer Chuck Berry finally got his first U.S. #1 with a novelty song. And a filthy one at that.
Oh, yo!
My Ding-a-Ling is basically 3 minutes of schoolyard innuendo about a toy the singer loves to play with. Everyone knew what it really meant.
Beautiful. And then mama took me.
Including the crowd, who gleefully sang along on the hit live recording.
Sing. Yes, sir. This here's.
The backlash. Some U.S. radio stations refused to play it despite its chart success. In the UK, morality campaigner Mary Whitehouse demanded the BBC ban it for indecency after it appeared on Top of the Pops.
Head. Those of you who will not say.
The BBC didn't fully cave, and the song still hit #1 there. But it showed how far Berry could push the line between cheeky and obscene. 11. Tie a Yellow Ribbon Round the Old Oak Tree. Tony Orlando and Dawn, 1973. Controversy.
It's been 3 long years, do you still?
From ex-con ballad to war and politics. On paper, this is a sentimental pop tune about a man coming home from prison, asking his partner to tie a yellow ribbon if she still wants him. When he arrives, the tree is covered in ribbons. Happy ending. Reddit. But the song took on a life far beyond the charts.
Long years, do you still want me?
During the 1970s, people used yellow ribbons to show support for U.S. hostages and returning soldiers.
Old embassies cheering.
By the Gulf War in 1991, the yellow ribbon had become a full-blown patriotic symbol. The Library of Congress.
'Cause I couldn't bear to see.
That adoption made the song politically loaded. Some critics felt its cheerful tone glossed over the trauma of war and imprisonment.
Still in prison in my love, she holds the key.
Others were uncomfortable with how a love song about an ex-prisoner was rebranded as a simple pro-military slogan.
Oh, tie a yellow ribbon round the.
It wasn't heavily banned, but it was definitely divisive. Especially among people who opposed the wars, the ribbon was suddenly representing. 10. Love to Love You Baby, Donna Summer, 1975. Controversy. 16 minutes of Too Sexy for Radio. Disco would never be the same after this track. Working with producer Giorgio Moroder, Donna Summer recorded an extended hypnotic groove with breathy vocals and a lot of erotic moaning. The full version runs over 16 minutes. The BBC once claimed it contained 23 audible orgasms. Reaction. The BBC banned it from airplay. The Guardian. Some U.S. stations refused to play it at all, calling it graphic and indecent. Classical music. But in clubs, the controversy only helped. DJs spun the full 16-minute version. Dancers loved it. And Donna Summer was crowned the Queen of Disco. The week it pushed mainstream pop into a much more open discussion of female pleasure. Something that still makes it feel bold decades later. 9. Street Fighting Man. The Rolling Stones. 1968, still hot in the early 70s. Controversy.
Wash his hands, seal his fate.
Too close to real riots. Technically released in 1968, Street Fighting Man kept causing trouble into the 70s. Especially as protests and riots continued around the world. Inspired by student uprisings in Paris anti-Vietnam rallies. And the violent clashes at the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago beyond the grooves.
Made damn sure that pilot.
The song captured the frustration of a generation that felt politics had failed them. Radio stations in U.S. cities like Chicago refused to play it.
The nature of my game.
Afraid it would incite more unrest. Jagger reportedly said he was pleased it was banned. Because the last time that happened to the Stones in America, the record sold 1 million.
It's just the nature of my game.
The Third Eye by the early 70s. Street Fighting Man had become a kind of underground anthem for activists.
I watch with glee while you being angry.
Proof that even a rock band could make nervous governments twitch. 8. You're 16. Ringo Starr, 1973. Controversy. A cute love song that aged badly. When Ringo Starr covered the 1960 Johnny Burnett hit You're 16, it sounded like harmless nostalgia. And it went all the way to number 1 on the US charts. But listen to the lyrics now, with adult Ringo singing, You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine. Modern critics point out the obvious. He was 33, singing longingly about a 16-year-old girl. Commentators today often describe it as gross. And say it romanticizes an inappropriate age gap, even if the original writers probably pictured both parties as teenagers. Back in the 70s, it slid by as a sweet pop tune. Today, it's one of those songs people side-eye whenever it pops up in a playlist. 7. Money. Pink Floyd, 1973. Controversy. A prog rock roast of capitalism. Money is one of the most instantly recognizable bass lines in rock, built on a loop of cash registers and coins in an unusual 7/4 time signature. Bookie lyrically, Roger Waters goes right at greed. Money, it's a crime. Share it fairly, but don't take a slice of my pie. It's a sarcastic, bitter swipe at how money corrupts people and relationships, and it fits right into the dark side of the moon's themes of pressure, madness, and modern life. Bookie. Unlike some other songs on this list, Money wasn't officially banned by a government, but its anti-greed message has kept it on endless lists of anti-capitalist rock anthems, and it helps cement Pink Floyd's reputation as a politically sharp band. IllustrateMagazine.com. For context, it was another Floyd song, Another Brick in the Wall, Part 2. That was actually banned in apartheid South Africa in 1980 for inspiring student protests, which shows how nervous authorities were about the band's messages in general. 6. I Am Woman. Helen, Reddy, 1972. Controversy. The song that made men nervous. I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar wasn't just a lyric. It became a slogan. Co-written by Helen Reddy and Ray Burton, I Am Woman was designed as the empowering song she couldn't find anywhere else. A proud, unapologetic statement of women's strength in the middle of the women's liberation movement. You discover music. Plenty of male DJs hated it. Some dismissed it as women's lib crap and were reluctant to play it until listener demand became impossible to ignore. The Library of Congress. But women loved it. They called stations, requested it constantly, and turned it into a #1 hit in 1972. An unofficial anthem of the feminist movement. At the Grammys, Reddy famously thanked God because she makes everything possible. A cheeky nod that annoyed critics even more and cemented the song's feminist legacy. 5. God Save the Queen. Sex Pistols, 1977. Controversy. Punk versus the monarchy. If you wanted to upset Britain in 1977, you couldn't have done better than this. Released right in the middle of Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee. The Sex Pistols compared the monarchy to a fascist regime and declared there was no future in England's dreaming. The reaction was nuclear. Total airplay ban from the BBC and the Independent Broadcasting Authority. Major chains like W.H. Smith and Boots refused to stock the single. Despite this, it still hit #2 on the official UK chart, with endless rumors that it actually sold enough for #1 and was deliberately kept off it. The band were physically attacked in the streets, and newspapers painted them as public enemy #1. Lost 40. To this day, God Save the Queen is held up as the defining punk protest track. Banned, hated, and completely unforgettable. 4. Walk on the Wild Side. Lou Reed, 1972. Controversy. Queer lives, drugs, and a very sly radio Edie. Lou Reed turned Andy Warhol's superstars into folk heroes on this track, Drag queens, trans women, sex workers, hustlers.
Back to way across the USA.
People almost never shown with empathy in mainstream music at the time. Lines like, shaved her legs, and then he was a she, and a reference to oral sex, giving were way over the line for 1972 radio. RCA actually made a censored version, cutting the giving headline and changing colored girls to and the girls for some stations. Wikipedia. Even so, many stations just played the uncensored version, often without fully realizing what Reed was singing about. The result? A worldwide hit, a stealth queer anthem, and proof that sometimes the most subversive songs sneak right through the front door. 3. Brown Sugar. The Rolling Stones, 1971, Controversy. Slavery, sex, and a song. The band now regrets. Brown Sugar opens with Gold Coast slave ship bound for cotton fields. From there it dives into slavery, violence, and sexualized depictions of enslaved black women. All wrapped in one of the catchiest riffs in rock. ABC critics and activists have spent decades arguing over whether the song is satire, critique, or just exploitative. Many see it as gross, sexist, and stunningly offensive toward black women. ABC, even Mick Jagger, backed away from it. In a 1995 interview, he said, "I never would write that song now. I would probably censor myself." ABC. In recent years, the Stones quietly pulled Brown Sugar from their set lists because of the backlash, proving that some 70s edginess just doesn't age well. 2. Imagine. John Lennon, 1971, Controversy, A Beautiful Dream, or Dangerous Ideology. Imagine is one of the softest sounding nuclear bombs ever dropped on pop culture. Lennon asks us to picture a world with no countries, no possessions. A brotherhood and sisterhood of man. And most explosively, no religion too. Religious groups blasted the song as atheist propaganda, and Lennon later admitted what he was up to. All the people. He called it anti-religious, anti-nationalistic, anti-conventional, anti-capitalistic. Virtually the Communist Manifesto, but sugar-coated. Nothing to kill or die for. In apartheid South Africa, where authorities were already hostile to Lennon because of his more popular than Jesus remark, his solo work, including Imagine, was effectively banned from state broadcasting, music times. And yet, the song escaped its own controversy. No need for greed or hunger. It went from dangerous to being performed at state ceremonies, Olympic events, peace rallies, and memorials worldwide. ABC soft piano, radical message. That contrast is what made it both controversial and 1. Lola. The Kinks, Muida 1970. Controversy. Brand names, gender, and the BBC. We kick off with a song that should have been banned for its subject matter, but wasn't.
Soho, where you drink champagne and it tastes just like cherry coke.
Lola tells the story of a young guy who falls for someone in a club who walked like a woman and talked like a man. A playful, surprisingly empathetic portrayal of a trans woman for 1970. Lost 40. The BBC didn't care about that at all. What they did care about was the line, where you drink champagne and it tastes just like Coca-Cola. BBC policy at the time banned direct product mentions as advertising, so the song was pulled. Ray Davies literally flew back from the US mid-tour to re-record that one line as Cherry Cola, just so the song could be played. Lost 40. The edited version became a hit, and Lola is now remembered as both. A queer-coded rock classic
My name and in a dark brown voice she said Lola.
and a hilarious example of how censors cared more about brands than about gender taboos. Which of these songs do you think actually went too far? And which ones were unfairly targeted? Did you grow up hearing any of them on the radio or hiding the record from your parents? Drop your stories and takes in the comments. And if you enjoyed this dive into controversial 70s tracks, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. We've got more deep dives into rock's most dangerous songs coming your way.